Hey you going guys, welcome back to NZ Marko Customs. So, in this video we'll continue stripping the chassis down. If you didn't catch the end of the last one, quite a marathon effort to get the motor and box out of this thing. Apparently, according to the service manual, about 40 hours, because basically what I've done to this thing is pretty much what you would do to and get it off. You got to take the body off to get the motor and box out. There's possibly ways to do it around it, but that's the way they suggest, because you've got to slide that cross member and everything all back with the pedals and all that sort of stuff. You got to slide that back probably about 4 feet to just get the box out, or 3.5 feet to get the box out. Might be quite that far, but it's a fair distance, and you've got to slide it back to get the motor out. So yeah, anyway, we'll carry on. We'll go over some bits. I can see me doing a lot more work to this thing than I ever really wanted to do. It's going to end up a lot of mechanical. There's just too much oil in a lot of places. I'll show you in a minute. I'm just going to have a break for a minute, and yeah, we'll get back into it, get the tank out of it. Hopefully get this stripped down enough so when this guy rings with the body, hopefully I'll get it stripped down enough that we can just drop the chassis off and get that all cleaned up and sandblasted, and yeah, then we'll go from there. I don't know if I'll get him to paint it or not. As much as it would be easy, I suppose we could, but yet it really needs to be gloss, because that back bit that covers the fuel tank is seen, so it needs to be painted gloss. So the whole chassis needs to be painted gloss, I guess. If it's all black, yeah, it's probably the way to do it. So yeah, I might be able to paint it gloss black, since that piece is seen. It's like it's a bit like that valance on the Studebaker, but it's part of the chassis. It's like a brace of the chassis. So yeah, we'll carry on, and we'll get this thing apart, and we'll see you in a few minutes when I'm doing some work again. Yeah. All this out, I suppose. Right. Makes you wonder why they thought it would look like that. What a bitch. What a bitch with me. Oh well. I think I might go to the back and drop the tank and shit out. And then the diff will probably drop out of the road. Well, we'll hold the diff out of the road. And then we'll undo the front springs, I guess, and the gearbox, steering box. And it's just a matter of just pulling a bit of wiring out, I guess, and the tail light piece off. Well, man, there's some frustrating things on this car. So I've managed to get the straps undone for the tank, and I was thinking, oh, I'll just twist that off and pull it off. But it's got some freaking great spring thing in there. So you can't get it off, well, not easily, but it doesn't fit down through the frickin' hole. I thought, oh, it must fit down through the hole, but no. Not that I can work out, but it's got this stupid frickin' bloody great spring thing there. I don't know whether it's an aftermarket thing, and they've jammed it in there obviously to you know, so people can't get into frickin' probably pinch fuel. But yeah, you can't get the bastard off either. So I'll have to play around with that a bit more. It did just slip out of there. That's alright. I managed to wiggle it through the hole. What a prick of an idea there. Yeah, we'll tackle the rest after lunch. Righty, so a little progress update. I haven't really done a whole heap. Well, I've got that steering box part off. That's actually riveted to it. That bracket. So it's just the two bolts and the top piece obviously comes loose, but the rest of it's all riveted there. So those screws that broke off in there aren't going to be the easiest to get out. Hopefully, what I'm doing, I'm hoping that I can find a couple of little washers to stick over top of them, weld the washer on there, and then weld a nut to that, and hopefully I can get them to come free with a bit of heat. And also, when I get this sandblasted, I'm not going to be able to get them to paint it because I'm going to have to fix some rivets. That's all loose. You can actually get that side of the whole chassis and flex it. All those rivets must be loose in that side. So it's probably a good thing it's being pulled down. Like, there's a lot of little things that people just don't realise is, you know, wrong with stuff. So yeah, that all needs re-riveted and all tightened back up. You can see that one's actually pulled through. So it should be sitting up on top. And you can actually see that they're loose. So that's not good. So we'll have to fix a bit of that sort of stuff. Yeah, so I'll get this front suspension out, and I've cleaned up the screws for the wiring and the fuel hose. Let's see if I can get them loose. Two or three of them down here, four and the couple across the back for that stuff, so I can get that out of the road. Yeah, and then just got to get the brackets off, so it shouldn't be too much longer, and we should be ready to try and and the tail light, got to get that off there. But yeah, that should be basically ready to go on a trailer or something after that. But I wouldn't mind trying to work out what I'm going to do here. I might try and prop it up on its side for a bit, clear the stuff out of the road so I can. If I'm just going to get them sandblasted, I won't panic about it. I'll straighten all that shit up afterwards. I'll just tell them that I need it just sandblasted because I've got to go through and do some fixes and bits and pieces on it. Obviously, there's no point painting it. I can paint it. It's fine. It's not hard to put it up on some stands, even those wooden stands. You know, paint the underneath, let it dry for a while. You know, get a couple of good coats underneath and everything else, and then flip over and just flip the tops later on. Done it before. So yeah, it's kind of where we're at there, I think. So yeah, we'll get these few bolts out, or pins out. Hopefully they come out reasonably easy like the back ones did. Get that out of there, see what the condition of these pins are like. I think the front pins are fine. For the rear, it's just the rear pins and dog bones are absolutely buggered. And I've got a sneaking suspicion these won't be much better. So yeah, hopefully the front pins are alright, and we'll just have to get dog bones and pins for them, and bushes. Yeah, we'll probably replace the front bushes. We'll see what they're like. Have a good nosy. But yeah, we'll replace the bushes and whatever and stuff here. So it all fucking starts, you know, people just don't realise how much it accumulates. And the fracking grease and shit in there. Yeah, I need to try and work out where that was coming from, because you can guarantee if I just clean it up and put it back together, you know, it's going to get down the road and get full of grease and whatever. You know, you imagine if I don't fix the seal, whether it's felt or whatever, you know, if I don't do something with it, you know, he'll get, you know, a few drives out of it, next thing the clutch is slipping because it's pissing all everywhere. You know, whether it's coming out of the motor or coming out of the gearbox, I don't know. But there's a lot of oil in around here, you know, like it's been a lot of oil at some point. That's the other thing that makes me think it isn't done. It's done way more than no, 24,000. But I don't know. You don't know. It could be, but just I couldn't imagine it leaking that much after 24,000 miles. I know they didn't have the technology that we do now, but would it have been that messy after 24,000? Who would know, I suppose. Who would know? I wasn't there. But anyway, we'll get these pins out, and this should be basically ready to throw on a trailer, you know, apart from a couple of bits and pieces. See if I can get those out, or do I wait? Actually, I might wait till it's sandblasted next, and then I'll have a go at those, because that'll give the chance to give that a real good clean up underneath there, and whatever, you know, that might just help loosen some shit off the backs of those screws, so they might come out a bit easier. And then I can weld a couple of washers and a couple of nuts on there and see if we can wind them out with some good heat from welding. And try if not, I'll have to drill it out and put slightly bigger holes through there. Anyway. Alrighty, so got the fuel line off. The only thing I gotta do is still get is the tail light. So got the front pins out. They don't look too bad, but I had a fight getting that one out of the frame. It was, I wouldn't say it was stuck in there, but it was fairly tight trying to get out. I had to get a pair of vice grips with a decent sized punch on it and push it through. It just wouldn't come out by itself like the rest would, you know, with just a little bit of encouragement. I had to fight with that one. So yeah, it's we're basically done here. Just gonna get the tail light off, taking the brackets off for the exhaust. All this stuff's off. I actually noticed there's some rubber bump stops we'll have to get off. Yeah, and the tail light and the rest of it can go to the sandblast. Oh, we'll have to cut. There's, I think, a couple of, probably just that one, is it? Oh, and that one over there. I'll have to cut those, what's left of those bolts off for running boards. But everything else is pretty much off. I don't think I'll panic about taking this stuff off. I can, if we need to take it off later on, I can whip it off and clean up and whatever. It should be fairly clean underneath there. It's a 2-second job if I need to worry about it later on. But yeah. So, wee bit of work to do on the chassis. Obviously, yeah, re-rivet or fix all these rivets that are loose. Obviously, we'll find out what they really like once I get the back from the sandblasters. But yeah, it's basically done. I'll have to probably scrape out a bit of shit, so it's just not quite so much work for him. I'll try and get rid of the thick stuff, and then yeah, we'll pop it on the trailer. Hopefully he won't be too far away from having it done. So I'm hoping I can kind of kill two birds with one stone, drop this off and pick the body up at the same time, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so we'll basically number plate light off and those off, and just cut those couple of extra bits off those running boards, and we should be good to go. Right, morning guys. So, welcome back again. So I'm going to pick up a trailer. The body's ready to pick up. So I'm going to pick up a trailer, grab the chassis, scrape a bit of shit off it, throw that on the trailer, and then drop the chassis off and pick the body up. And then we'll grab some steel to make up a dolly. I just didn't want to grab any steel until we got the chassis back, like the body back basically. So we'll go grab a trailer from Dad's, and yeah, we'll throw the chassis on and pick the body up and do all those other things. See you shortly. Right, let's see if we can get this a little bit further in. At least we can jiggle it around and slide it on there, hopefully. warm quick. Shit. Just leave that aside. I don't know what it's like. It's obviously no good, but what that's off. Just looks like it could have been a part of something that's rotted away. Let's go get a body. Righty guys, so just picked the body up, dropped the chassis off. And I got a perfect reason in the back why you never fucking quote anything. Like I gave the guy a ballpark figure when we first looked at it, trying to looking in the shed, you know, thinking maybe it was rust in the front fender, there's a little bit in the bottom of the cowl that you could see. No, but in the rear fenders, and possibly maybe remake the remake the running boards sort of thing. That was sort of the extent of work, and knock a few dents out and whatever, and panel paint basically. Yeah, like it's not really much worse than what I thought, but there's a lot of places where there was rust where you just didn't see it, you know. I'll show you when we get back. But most of it's in the places where we knew it was going to be, but there's quite a few little extra spots and bits and pieces that, you know, that I'm going to have to fix. So anyway, we'll get back to the shed and we'll give you a run around, and then once we've got the dolly made and sorted out, I'll show you the underneath. I haven't even looked at the bottom yet, but you know, we can see what's sort of going on, but haven't had a real good look around the bottom, so I don't know how much more material I've got to replace around the bottom of the body, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it shows how quick things can escalate. You know, you go from I don't know, like say a $20,000-$30,000 job to next thing you're 50 grand, and like it's like the motor and the box and the chassis and stuff on this thing. You know, like I reckon he was probably just expecting to clean it up a bit, you know, knock the shit off and I don't know whatever. But you know what I'm going to have to end up doing, like I've got to try and find out where and why that oil's all through that bow housing, because if we put it all together, last thing we want to do is crank it up and try and drive it somewhere and get, you know, a few miles down the road, next thing the clutch is slipping because, you know, it's pissing all into the fucking what do I want to call it, into the bow housing, you know what I mean, and then it's, you know, soak the clutch and you've got no drive, and the next thing you're pulling the body off and undo all the wiring, and you know, basically back to where you started again, you know, and then you've got to try and pull it apart and fix it. So yeah, like there's a lot of things going on that just, it's unfortunate, but it's kind of what happens, you know. People think, oh yeah, it's just a bit of a quick cleanup. But probably if it was a car from the 50s or 60s or something like that, and it hadn't done a lot of miles, you know, you might just pull a seal out of the box or something like that, you know, pretty easy fix. But something like this, where it's a whole disassemble of the car, it's not a simple fix, you know. It's something we're unfamiliar with, you know. All of a sudden it's, you know, you're into parts that probably aren't readily available here in New Zealand. You know, there might be a few parts around. Somebody will know somebody that might have something, but you know, we're heading back into the territory of the Studebaker, hunting for parts that could be really hard to find, you know, or whatever. I've actually got Dad on the case. I just was talking to him when I picked the trailer up about the gearbox and clutch and all that sort of stuff. I just said, you know, it was just covered in thick oil and grease in there, so I don't really know why. You know, kind of looks like a bit like a, could be a motorbike sort of type, you know, clutch. You know, didn't know whether it was meant to be half semi-wet or what, you know. Like some of the bike clutches are, you know, they're like a semi-wet sort of material. I don't know whether it's meant to be like that. You know, it could be meant to be like that, but the oil and grease is so old that, you know, you don't know. Or if somebody's just gone to town with the grease gun, you know, greasing the old throwout bearing, and like they had on a lot of those sort of things. You know, it could have been just pumped full of grease, you know, and just keep throwing it everywhere, you know, off the throwout or clutch release bearing, throwout bearing. So yeah, it's a bit of a hard one. We don't know, but we need to get to the bottom of it. Otherwise, we're you're putting it back together and then fucking pulling it apart again, which is not ideal. Anyway, it's about here. So we'll get this chassis, get the body off, sit it on the axles, on the sawhorses in the meantime, and we'll start. And I'll go get some steel, drop the trailer off, and start building a dolly. Alrighty, hopefully the wind's not too noisy, it's just a wee bit of breeze out here. So it looks pretty good around here, this is fine. Obviously we've got that rock down in there, all the way through there. That pan is pretty shot. It's not too bad over the side. Not really much more here that we could see, but I'm going to have to obviously do some repairs in there. Like those braces are all broken away. Yeah, again, this is all shot. Yeah, well, this is all rotten through here, throughout through here. I think it's even gone up in here in places. It's actually had some patches in here before. So yeah, but it's starting to go up here too, like in places. I'm gonna have to do some repair up here where the wood has been lying in between the wood. Same in here, and this is the same. It's all rotten up in here. You can see where it's had some patches at some stage. At some point in its life, it's actually had some new metal put in there. So I'm gonna have to fix all that, and obviously all down, like this is all buggered. It's not too bad down there. But yeah, she's had a few patches, so you will find out what's going on more underneath later. And obviously we've got a couple of little bits of pieces there. You know, there's a lot of cracks and stuff in places too that we're gonna have to fix. I think it's one around the back of the, oh, I can't remember, somewhere. Oh, it might be up the front. There's a couple of big cracks in the cowl front area. But yeah, we'll get her off. I'll go drop the trailer off, and we'll go grab some steel so we can make up a dolly to turn this thing upside down, and we'll start from the bottom. And obviously I'll have to measure some steel and work out what I need to go buy for heavy gauge panel steel. Like this stuff here. I think this will be what equivalent to 2mm. I don't know, it might be 14 gauge or something like that, whatever that equivalent is. I'll have to have a look. But yeah, I'll have a quick measure, and yeah, we're going to start organising some steel, but we'll make a dolly first before we do that, so we can trundle it around in here upside down. So I want to try and put it over in here, this area, when I'm working on it. You know, we'll get it off. Righty, so I got some steel, realised I needed to fucking get that tape measure. I was going to do that when I was going to go get some freaking casters, but I forgot that it was broken, so I really actually need to do it now. Yeah, we'll have to do this rough eyeball measure. It won't matter much, it doesn't have to be critical perfect or anything. But I'll just find a bloody Marko somewhere. I've never done with writing on shit. And I'm glad we can just keep yourself slightly more freaking organised around here. Short. Short. Alright. What am I thinking? What am I looking for? I can't remember. Right. Anyway, for a rough length, for the piece to go from here to here, on there. It's going to go from here. I'm actually hoping. Bring this closer. Bring this a bit closer. I don't know, but I'm hoping that these are actually square. I don't know. I think they might be. They might be slightly angled in. But I'm just wondering if they are actually close to square. If they are, it means I can just, because I can wind this thread out of it. That means I can wind this down a bit further so it sits up a bit higher. This is what I'm thinking at the moment. So if I can have that up about here, I can weld a bit of this onto here. Turns around like that and weld it onto here. There's a couple of old gate hinges that were just in amongst the crap over there. Weld a bit of steel onto here and then obviously put a bit of this in between. I need to cut a piece here. That long. And hopefully have another piece, I can get enough piece and then maybe a couple of droppers. So I'd like it about, not quite beach height, but close to it, high at the bottom. When it's sitting in the ground. Somewhere around about there would be ideal. So it needs to be about this high, I think. So yeah, it needs to be, so yeah, it only needs to be up about here. By the time I put the casters on the bottom, we're not going to be far away by the time I weld the bar across here. Need some casters on it, we're going to be pretty close. And then we'll have to work out the same here. So this here is about the same. So we'll be a little bit, we have to have some little bit of leg down here with a couple of short bits. Poke through and pick up the bolt through here. I'll draw a hole through this so we can put a big bolt through and a couple of nuts either side of it or something. So yeah, we'll get a, I don't know, maybe half-inch bolt through there or half-inch 10 mil. You should get a half-inch bolt through there. Maybe half decent. There'll be some all thread or something here that I've got to use. Doesn't need to be in particular pretty. And then when I get some casters, we'll text screw them onto the box or something like that. Might even get a couple of little bits of the plate over there. Might cut a couple of squares of plate and just tack that on there and then screw them onto that or something. But yeah, forgot. This tape should be right for here, but I think these might be reasonably square. I'm hoping this comes up square because it'd be nice to just slip this in. I'm going to slip it in and pull it out, slip it in and pull it out if I need to, later on. I don't want to have to try and unweld anything. I think it's square, I think. I'm not 100% sure of that. It can't be far off it, if you know what I mean. Which would be handy. It means I can just rest it on these nuts, on the braces down there. Perfect. I'm not going to adjust the height a little bit if I need to. We can lift it all the way up to here. Wanted to be a bit higher, but so roughly here. What do I need? 830. Not quite 3 feet. What happens for 820? Drops the wall. Use the rest for other bits. Right, better go have some lunch. When we come back, we'll weld that together, weld that joint together, get that welded up reasonably well, put a bit more weld in here, and then we can clamp that bar there onto there, obviously do some quick measurements down to here so we can cut another piece about that length, obviously to weld onto here. But then we can get a rough measurement for put a hole through. So I want to put a hole through this so we can put it in and put a nut on there and tighten it up hopefully. So yeah, I might drill a couple of holes in this just so we can jiggle it up and down if we want to, if you know what I mean. Should better get I don't know, drill a couple, 3 holes through that. Reasonably easy. Closest, you know, so we can do a little bit of adjustment if we want it up and down. Just wonder if we should make maybe slightly longer into it, just in case I want to lift it up, because I've got plenty of lift on these. You know, I could lift these up another 4. I could lift them up another 4 or 5 inches if I really wanted to, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I might use this piece. I mightn't double that length, but I might add another 3 or 4 inches on there. How long is that? Because I've got plenty of that other piece. I might use that for a little cross brace or something like that. I might. Yeah, I don't know. I might put a couple of cross braces. So that piece there is. It's a little bit over 7 inches long. So we might get a piece about 10 inches long. Yeah, and just drill an extra couple of holes so we can lift it up and down if we want to. So yeah, if we can get an extra, 2 or 3 inches up if we want. Because yeah, we'll get at least, probably got 5 to 6 inches at least that we can lift the front up if we wanted to. If we found it a bit low, I can always wind the nuts up, if you know what I mean. So we might do the same with the back, so we can just pull a bolt out and just lift it up. Put a jack underneath the back of it or something like that, and lift it up and put the bolt back in and another couple of holes up. We might do that just so it's adjustable. If I find it's too low working on it. Alright, we'll see you after lunch. Alrighty, so back here, got some casters. That's cool. The first down payment following through. Handy. Start buying some materials without it coming out of my pocket. So, I was trying to decide actually how I'm going to attach these casters. Like I can put a couple of Tek screws through and put them on the angle. I'm just trying to decide whether I actually weld it. I cut a couple of bits of square plate. Just on that plate that I've got over there, just cut a couple of pieces. 4 pieces the same size as that, so I can just Tek screw it on and just weld it onto these. I don't know, either I'll just Tek screw this on an angle like this, or maybe out here like a little bit so it's a little more slightly bigger footprint. But we'll get this tacked up anyway, at least then we can situate the back piece and work out the length of the bits we want for the back and draw a few holes in it and try and get it down on the ground and flip it over. Probably have to get some help to flip it over, but that's all right. Wasn't 40 downs about the first hole. we've got that built anyway, so just got to get it over on its lid, as they say, and yeah, I'll do a little bit extra welding when it's in a slightly better position to weld on the underside, and should be good. I might have to put a little bit of racing in it, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I'd have to put a little bit of angle stuff in there if I have to, but if I don't need it I won't panic. Alright, morning guys. So welcome back. Lost the day yesterday because I was in town buying crap and then waiting on obviously stuff to be sorted. So I got a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of 2mm, which I think is about 14 gauge for the bottom of that car. You haven't seen the bottom of that car yet. Unfortunately, it's the rear opening on my wagon. I should have taken a trailer, but I thought it should fit in there all right, and then we should be able to just bend it up. But yeah, it's a bit heavier than I thought, and the rear opening is 1200. But I keep forgetting that 4 foot's just a little bit over 1200. It's about 1220 or 1240 or whatever it is. So yeah, the rear opening on mine is, yeah, it's basically 1200 and just in a little bit of change. So like I thought, oh, you know, it was slipping there perfect, but yeah, no, it won't. It was cutting it, so I had to. Fortunately, there's where the sheet metal and steel wholesales are in town, right across the road there's a sheet metal place, so I run over to see him, and I said to him, I said, oh, I've got a sheet of steel over there, but my frickin' wagon's just not quite wide enough in the back, so can you chop it down to half width? And also got them to chop 400 off the front of it, off the total length of the 8 foot, because the pieces I need for that pieces are 2 meters long. I'll show you what else I got first. Hold on. Yeah, so right, this here is a tool cart. So I'll show you here. So it's 2 shelves and then a drawer, and then it's got a flat top. I don't really like the flat top, but 100 on different places to try and get one that had like the little upturn, but still had the drawer. None of them had it, except unless I went and spent about the double the money of that, which was like, oh, I'm not doing that. So eventually I'm going to weld a wee strip of steel or a bit of thinner stuff than that. A bit of thin stuff, yeah, I might weld a bit of that up the edge of it and then repaint the top black or something. I'll just weld a strip of that around it, and then I'll get a foam mat to sit on top, because I just don't want tools and shit to fall off. But well, below, they do sell it over here. Okay, so this is high build primer and black. I haven't got the colour yet because he's still trying to decide exactly what we're going to do there. I've actually seen him a couple pictures of what I thought the colour might have been originally, but he hasn't decided. So I taped it up so it wouldn't fall out. So this is a completely different brand of paint. I'm not sure on this stuff here. I could have went for something else, but I thought this was a little bit cheaper than the other brand. So I just thought with his budget, it's not massively high. It isn't quite the endless money pit that the Studebaker's got. So went with that. If I don't like it, if it sprays okay, but I'm not 100% happy with it, we'll change to the other brand, the slightly better brand with the colour. It won't matter, you know, it'll be 1.5 dozen the other. So yes, you can get this here, New Zealand, so I'm really keen to see what that's like, because all I've ever used is pretty much the Evercoat and the Z Grip and the Rage Gold and stuff like that. And Arco said this pisses all over that. So it is available here in New Zealand. And these guys apparently sell a shitload of it. And apparently they've got another one coming out soon, which is the Maxi Full Plus, or something like that, which is meant to be even better again. And then this is the high build I got, which is the same brand. I'll put my phone down from it. I can get it out of here. It's the same, it's the Robolo brand. So we'll give this a try. When I was doing that, you know, the stuff was good, okay. That paint is very sticky. It freaking like just builds up on everything really easy. So I'm trying not to use that again. I want to try and find something else that I'm more happy with. So this is the Robolo's high build primer filler. So we'll leave that a rut. I've got 2 gallons or 8 litres here at the moment. I think is it in gallons or is it in litres? I think it might be in gallons. I don't think it's actually a full 4 litres. I know it is 4 litres. So, but yeah, it's basically a gallon, slightly over a gallon. I think this might be the gallon. Oh no, it's even less. It's only 3 litres. What are they Evercoat ones? I've probably got a Rage Gold can here. But it's only 3 litres as well. I think they used to be 4. That's, yeah. Anyway, and I've got a shitload of, well, I wouldn't say a shitload of cup mix, but I've got a mixture of mixing cups. Some big, some small, some whatever. It's obviously hardener for that. Got myself a pump bottle for is that my, what's that for? Oh yeah, that's for the wax and grease remover. That's actually the other brand for the colour. Same brand, but I don't really know what it's like. I have used, I think I've used that before when I was painting one of my earlier cars when I was in Australia. I think it was that brand. When I painted burgundy and charcoal grey Valiant. So yeah, we got obviously hardener and some masking tape and bits and pieces, and it's the activator for, what's that for? No, down here. Oh, that might be for the etch from the body. I need to go through it all. I'm actually going to bring in here at home. I've got an old wooden cupboard. That's, you know, like a freestanding wooden cupboard. I'm going to bring it in here. I'm going to put a lot of this shit in here, and the sandpapers and blocks and anything like that, any of this stuff, so I can get it off the bench. And that's the other reason why I bought that, so I can get my tools off benches when I'm working. And obviously with a drawer, I better put a few odds and ends in that I'm using regularly. So I'll get that built shortly. I was going to come in here really early this morning and do it, but that plan went out the window. Mrs. wasn't feeling very good this morning, so I had to take young fella to school. But here's the underneath of this. So we didn't get a real good look at this the other day from the top. So you can see it's got some rot in here. Needs all repaired. Obviously all down in here. This is the bad side. So this is all rotten. So you get this piece here, from here. Oh, the screen's gone dark. From here to here is 2 meters, which is, what's that? Be about 7 feet. Somewhere around about there. Not quite 7 feet. So that length is 2 meters. and a wee bit of change as it bends around there. So yeah, that's why I got them to cut it down. Well, not that it really matters, but it was easy for me to do that because that guillotine isn't 4 foot wide. So yeah, so these are all the bits I'm going to probably have to do. I don't know if I'm going to do the whole thing on this side or not. We'll see. But see, this here is not very good either. So we're going to probably end up, I don't know if I'll make the full wheel arches. I might do, because it's all rotten in here. It's been patched. So I may end up making these whole bits. It might be just as easy. I've got a strinker stretcher coming and a bead roller as well, because obviously this here I'll get away with patching, you know, and we'll want to put a section in the back, but this here we're going to have to make. So I need a bead roller that will do this at least. I might as well make the whole pan in one thing, you know. Take all the rotten metal away. Like I could put just a patch in it, but you know, if I'm going to take that out, I might as well make it one piece, and then it's one piece. That was kind of what I'm thinking here too. I don't know. It seems to be fairly solid. I could just make it to here and stitch it in. We'll see. I'll have another real good look in the inside at some point, but yeah. So obviously all this needs re-skinned. We might re-skin it back to where it was. Just put a whole patch in there. I'd rather just have one join than two. Clean that up. Obviously you're going to make these pieces. This is just normal gauge, I think. Yeah, so that's just normal. This is the big heavy plate. You know, same in here, we'll put a patch in here. So there's quite a bit of work, and then obviously we're going to do work from the other side as well, where there's a few bits and pieces. Get some of these cracks sorted. Like there's quite a few cracks in places. And then obviously there'd be some panel steel on the inside as well, once we get this stuff strengthened up and fixed. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do, I was going to have a shuffle, because I would like to put this over there, because if I end up getting that chassis back the next day or whatever, I need to put that back in here. So I just need to work out what I'm going to do with that motor and box in the meantime. I kind of want it accessible so I can get it outside. If we can get enough rain water in these tanks, we'll have a quick wee look. See if there's much water in them. Hard to tell. So I'd like to be able to use the hard to tell. Still sound fairly. We haven't had a lot of rain yet. Just open a tap here for a second to see if as much flows through. Yeah, no, it's not even enough to come out there yet. Yeah, we haven't had bugger all. We've had a few light showers. Once these will put in, really. It might be, yeah, there might be 2 or 3 inches in the bottom, but we need probably 2 feet. 2 or 3 feet in both, and it would probably be okay to run that thing for a while and clean some shit up. But yeah, we need some rain. Actually thought we might have got a bit overnight, but yeah, it's sort of just been like this. We got a little bit yesterday, but not much. Or late last night. So yeah, that's what we're at. So we'll have a bit of a shuffle here. I'm going to have a quick look at that trolley, so I can sort that out, and then we'll get into, I don't know, somewhere, start working on this somewhere. Work out what we're going to do. Yeah. So yeah, she's had some shitty patches before. That's like so thin it's stupid. But see, we've got to repair all this too in here as well, all the inner. So yeah, we'll probably find quite a bit that we have to fix. Oh, that's all the part of that. Is it? Yeah, it is. So that hole looks like it's all the one bit, and that sits over top of that. Yeah. That must be a patch. That's been a patch. So yeah, we're going to sort of pick that all apart and try and remake it all. Oh, so that goes all the way out into there. So this here I might have to graft in. I don't really fancy making. Gee, that's solid, isn't it? I actually thought that was just normal panel steel. But it's actually a part of... Oh no. It is a part of that, but it is the heavy gauge, but it's a separate piece. Wowzers, that would have taken some making. So you will have to put some patches in this piece. And this riveting is going to be interesting. Yeah, anyway, we'll work it out.